Hey everybody, so this is a 23andMe update video. I've tried both 23andMe and Ancestry, and I find 23andMe to be a lot better. Because not only do they have like a bunch of medical stuff and traits, but I also find their Ancestry thing to be more specific and more accurate. And it's getting more accurate all the time as they get more and more people sending it in, and they can kind of build up a database. So they recently did a huge update and everybody had their stuff rebalanced. Not only did they have their stuff rebalanced, but they gave more specific breakdowns, like which part of whatever area your people are actually from. And it's interesting because they actually got the part of England where my family I know is from right, which I was kind of shocked by, but I guess it's just gotten that accurate. So I guess if people say that this is completely fake, that doesn't really it doesn't really play out, because this is based on what I know about my family. This is overwhelmingly accurate. But anyway, so we have here Argent Templar. So I am 99.9% European. I don't know why I have 0.1% Chinese. I don't know if that's like residual DNA. I don't know if that's from like some Indo-European migration or something. But that's been pretty consistent on most of the tests I've done over the years, that I get 0.1% East Asian. So I have absolutely no idea where it comes from, but that's not really important. Okay, so my largest thing, despite my Anglo-LARPing, is Franco-German. Now, they call it Franco-German because it's very hard to differentiate between the two peoples genetically, because keep in mind, France and Germany were initially East Francia and West Francia when Charlemagne's empire broke apart. So the initial distinction was kind of vague, and it kind of developed more as like a cultural linguistic thing over time than necessarily a genetic thing. That's at least how I understand it. So that's my main ancestry. So, as I think I've said at the past, my mother's family are German Mennonite, and my father's family is mostly English. I think they have one or two Dutch or Alsace Germans in there. But as you can see, I'm pretty much balanced between the two. So let's go into a breakdown of the Germanic ancestry. So it's saying the biggest one that they have a match to is... Oh, okay, here we go. Let's see here. The French and Germans are at the heart of Europe. So they said Switzerland is the most likely one, which is true because that's where the Anabaptists originally came from. That's where the Mennonites came from. Also, Switzerland is mostly a Germanic country. So it's probably pretty hard to tell the genetics apart there. So it's interesting. So they even have it broken down. So they actually have the specific parts of Switzerland that they're from. With regards to Germany, they don't have a specific area where they're from. I think they're from East Germany. They're from, I think, East Germany and Alsace. I don't know a ton about where they were originally from, because my mother's side lived in Russia for the last like 200 or 300 years. So, and then Holland, they actually have a strong enough match to say what part of the country they're from. So that's interesting. So this is accurate. As far as I can tell, that accurately reflects the breakdown of my ancestry. Okay, so then we have my Anglo heritage. So it's mostly United Kingdom, but also Irish. I'd imagine, once again, it's almost impossible. It's very difficult probably to tell them apart, because the English are kind of a mutt race made up of a whole bunch of different things: Germanic, Celtic, maybe a little bit of Roman. I don't know. They're made up of a bunch of different stuff, and it's probably hard to tell them and the Irish apart, and probably hard to tell them and like the Welsh apart. So the United Kingdom is what they said. So the interesting thing is they said Manchester, which I know is where some of my English relatives came from. I know at least a couple of them did come from Manchester. So that's interesting. I think I've mentioned, yeah, so this general area. As I mentioned in the past, the furthest back I can trace my English side is to William the Conqueror. So I think they settled, I think a bunch of Normans settled in that area afterwards. Also London. A lot of people get London. I think that's just because they have a very large sample size from London. And interestingly, the Celtic parts are not very high at all. Um, there's like nothing in Wales, and Edinburgh and Belfast are rated very low. There's a little bit of Ireland. They say Dublin, but it's not very strong. So hopefully they were just Anglos who lived there, and it wasn't. I'm not Irish. That's the hope. Okay, so next we have Neanderthal kin ancestry. So you have 274 Neanderthal variants. So I'm about in the middle as far as the amount of Neanderthal kin that I have. So let's see here. Interpret the results. I don't know if it says here, but I think I have about 3% Neanderthal or something like that. So let's see here. Okay, so I have a couple of these. I do have straight hair. Less likely to sneeze after eating dark chocolate, less back hair, and height. I wish it like would tell me, does that mean I'm genetically more likely to be taller or shorter? Okay, so next we have maternal haplogroup, which I'm not super familiar with. So if we go to J, that is, I believe, I don't know if that's Indo-European or what it is exactly. Okay, let's see here. What's the most common one? It is the main haplogroup in Denmark and northern Germany, which is true because, like I said, my family on my mother's side is German, so I have Anglo maternal haplogroup. So that's cool. 540. So okay, so let's see here. Paternal haplogroup. So my paternal haplogroup is RL48. I think that's an R1b. I'm not that familiar with haplogroups, but that is, I think, the archetypical Western European one or Northwestern European one. So let me see here. You share a paternal line ancestor with King Louis the 16th. That's pretty woke. Let's see here. Distantly related to the Bourbon kings. I'm trying to see where, if they say where the area it's mainly from. Let's see references. Okay, it is the main one, and it's the main Atlantic one. Okay, so I'd imagine, right? So that makes sense. That's the Anglo. That's the British Isles, northern Spain, and French coast one. Okay, so that makes sense. Once again, that is accurate. That is 100% what I would expect. But that's pretty cool though that they're able to track that down. So now health reports. So health reports are interesting because they actually have this where they can make some predictions based on your genetics, like how likely certain things are to happen to you or not happen to you based on your health predisposition. So let's start off with traits. Okay, so traits, let's just go through these and see how accurate these are. Less likely to be able to match a musical pitch. If you've ever heard me sing China Economy Strong, you know that that's the case. Asparagus odor detection. Yeah, I can smell asparagus. It's interesting that that's genetic. Back hair. Yeah, I don't have that much back hair. Bald spot. None of the males in my family have a bald spot, so that's something I can look forward to. Not having bitter taste. Yeah, I can taste bitter very strongly. Like if I have an energy drink or something, or a tonic water, I can very strongly taste the bitter. Cheek dimples. Nope, I don't have cheek dimples. Discovering that cilantro aversion was genetic is fascinating because I hate cilantro. Like whenever I eat it, it makes me physically nauseous. It's like literally the worst thing I've ever eaten. So to find out that that's genetic is fascinating. Let's see. Many people like the cilantro, describing the taste as soapy. Yeah, it tastes like dish detergent. The genetic markers. Okay, so so people. So you have the odds of disliking cilantro. So that's really interesting that they're able to determine that. Detached earlobes. Yes, I have detached earlobes. What is a cleft chin? Let me just look this up. I think I might actually have a cleft chin. I think I do have a cleft chin. Yeah, I do. Okay, so they're wrong about that. Early hair loss. None of the people in my family have hair loss. Yes, wet earwax, brown eyes. Let's see. Let me just look at my hand. Yes, my ring finger is longer than my pointer finger. Hair photo bleaching. No one in my family has that. Uh, Likely straight or wavy. I have fairly thick hair. Yep, dark hair. Chewing sounds don't bother me. Interestingly, the mosquito bite thing, because I know I can be with my family and I can be bitten constantly by mosquitoes, and they can all be untouched. So that's interesting that they're able to count that. So photic sneeze reflex is if you feel like you're gonna sneeze but you can't. Some people, if they look at a light, it'll trigger the sneeze, and it's interesting because I do actually have that. Skin pigmentation, light. Yes, I have pale skin. Prefers salty. I think I do prefer salty over sweet. That's interesting. My big toe is longer. I do have a little bit of a unibrow. Just the hair grows there. It's not too bad. I just shave it periodically. It's not a big deal. I don't have a widow's peak. That is, generally speaking, the time I like to get up at around 9, if I had a choice. So that's interesting. So those are pretty much all correct. Let's see here. Wellness. Alcohol flush reaction. I wouldn't know because I've never drunk. Deep sleep. Yeah, deep sleep. I don't sleep particularly deep. Caffeine consumption. I do drink a lot of coffee. I am lactose tolerant. I do have that muscle build. I just don't work out that much. Sleep movement. Genetic weight. I am probably genetically about average. Part of it is just when I was younger, I had bad eating habits and they've gotten better over time. And it just depends what medication I'm on. Because some make you gain weight and some help you lose weight. And the current one I'm on helps you lose weight. So age-related macular degeneration. My grandmother has that. God willing, I won't get it. Celiac disease, late onset Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I probably won't get those anyways because I drink so much coffee. My understanding is that coffee is one of the has a neuroprotective property against some of those things. So let's see here. So if we go through these, I have basically none of these. I think I might have had one. Yeah, I don't have any of the carriers for genetic diseases. So that's interesting. Let's see here. Your lab results, health predisposition. Once again, yeah. So overall, that's kind of what I have. That's the updated 23andMe. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys later.